The idea of using the mouth as a sound modulator did not suddenly appear in the 1970s. Since the 1930s and 40s, engineers and musicians had already been experimenting with transforming the voice into an instrument. One of the first devices was the Sonovox, created in 1939, which transmitted instrument sounds into the performer's mouth. The Sonovox became famous after appearing in Disney films like Dumbo, 1941, and in AM radio station jingles for decades. These pioneering experiments paved the way for what would later become the talkbox. Furthermore, the Sonovox operated very differently from the modern talkbox. Instead of a plastic tube, they used two small speakers pressed against the performer's throat, making the vibrations reach the larynx. A method that seems bizarre today, but revolutionized sound manipulation. The first musician to produce a truly practical version of the talkbox was Pete Drake, a pedal steel guitarist from Nashville. In 1964, he used a homemade version in his song Forever, surprising listeners by making his guitar literally sing. He created his own talkbox prototype and recorded his hit Forever with it, earning the nickname King of the Talking Steel Guitar. Pete Drake even demonstrated the effect live on TV on The Jimmy Dean Show, impressing musicians of the time and showing that it wasn't a trick. It was technology. This became the first notable appearance of the effect on a commercial record. 5 years later, in 1969, Custom Electronics released the first commercial talkbox model, called the Bag. Its design was unusual. The device was hidden inside a small leather bag, connected to a transparent tube that carried the sound to the musician's mouth. Despite being innovative, the bag had only about 30 watts of power, making it too weak for stages with powerful guitar amplifiers. As a result, it remained more of a curiosity than a professional tool. The turning point came in 1971, when sound engineer Bob Heil developed a much more powerful and robust talkbox. The goal was to meet the needs of guitarist Joe Walsh, who wanted to use the effect live without losing volume. Heil created a version with a PA driver of approximately 250 watts, far stronger than any previous prototype. This new design immediately became the industry standard and opened the door for the talkbox in rock music. Joe Walsh was one of the first musicians to use the talkbox on a large scale. Before the success of Rocky Mountain Way, 1973, he had already experimented with the effect on songs like Mother Says, 1972. The success of Rocky Mountain Way put the talkbox on the rock music map. Audiences were fascinated by the singing guitar, and Walsh even taught Peter Frampton how to use the talkbox. A little known but historically documented fact. Even though the talkbox was already known, Peter Frampton was the one who turned it into a legend. In 1974, he received a custom-built talkbox from Bob Heil as a gift. This personalized model became his signature. 2 years later, and Frampton comes alive. 1976, he immortalized solos such as Do You Feel Like We Do and Show Me the Way. In the full versions of those performances, the talkbox solo lasts over 20 minutes. One of the most iconic live moments in music history. The effect didn't stop in the 1970s. In 1986, Richie Sambora from Bon Jovi brought the talkbox to the MTV generation with Livin' on a Prayer. A curious detail, the studio recording was actually performed by a hired musician named Bailey, while Sambora popularized the effect live. Slash from Guns N' Roses also incorporated the talkbox in Anything Goes, proving that even hard rock had room for the talking guitar. While rock was exploring the talkbox, funk had its own master, Roger Troutman of the band Zapp. Unlike most guitarists, Troutman used the talkbox connected to analog synthesizers, especially the Moog Mini Moog. His style created the foundation of 1990s G-Funk, influencing stars such as Dr. Dre, Tupac, and Snoop Dogg. Troutman's impact can also be heard in modern artists like Chromeo, Bruno Mars, Daft Punk, and contemporary R&B performers. Today, the talkbox is still alive and evolving. Modern models like the MXR M222 Dunlop update Bob Heil's classic design, while the Rocktron Banshee became popular for an important reason. It has a built-in amplifier, eliminating the need for an external guitar amp. Besides physical pedals, digital alternatives such as the TC Helicon Talkbox synth emerged, capable of simulating the effect without requiring a tube. In Brazil, the name Sonovox resurfaced as a brand used by manufacturers such as Audio Studio Produtos and JM, producing modern talk boxes inspired by the historical legacy. An interesting reappropriation of the original 1939 name. The talkbox has earned a permanent place in music history, mainly through its iconic use in rock, funk, and in the sample production style of hip-hop. Artists like Joe Walsh and Peter Frampton made the effect widely recognizable in rock, while Roger Troutman, with the band Zapp, brought the talkbox into funk and integrated it with analog synthesizers. A combination that would directly influence the sound of G-funk and hip-hop production in the following decades. The legacy of the talkbox also lives on in sample culture. Recordings by Roger Troutman and other users of the effect have been widely sampled and referenced by rap and R&B producers, expanding the reach of the sound far beyond its original performances. Today, the effect survives in two main forms. One, through modern physical talkboxes, updated versions of Bob Heil's design, and commercial units like the MXR M222 and Rocktron Banshee. And two, through digital emulations and pedal synths that simulate the effect without requiring the tube. This keeps the talkbox alive both as a stage device and as a timbre, continually reused and reinterpreted in studio production. The transparent tube has become a symbolic image, a physical medium that literally allowed a guitar or synthesizer to speak. This imagery continues to inspire musicians and sound engineers interested in the intersection between voice and electronics. If you enjoyed the video, share it with your friends to help the channel grow. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you won't miss the next ones.